The earth trembled. A colossal shadow engulfed the battlefield. The metallic clang of robotic legions clashed with the primal roar that echoed from the heavens. Neither side had anticipated this. Dragons, mythical beasts of old, and robots, harbingers of the future, found themselves locked in an epic confrontation. This was a battle for supremacy, a fight for survival. The dragons, drawn to the conflict by an insatiable curiosity, descended from their mountaintop lairs. They were majestic creatures, their scales shimmering like 1,000 sunsets, their eyes burning with ancient wisdom. Their presence alone instilled fear and awe. The robots, on the other hand, were cold, calculating machines. Their metallic bodies gleamed under the scorching sun, their sensors scanning the battlefield with ruthless efficiency. They were the pinnacle of technological advancement, their sole purpose, to conquer and control. The battlefield was a maelstrom of color and sound. The air crackled with energy as fire and lasers met in explosive bursts. The ground trembled under the weight of titans clashing. Smoke and dust filled the air, obscuring the sky and casting long, dancing shadows across the ravaged landscape. The stench of burning metal mingled with the acrid smell of dragonfire, creating a pungent cocktail that stung the nostrils. The clash of steel on steel reverberated through the air, punctuated by the deafening roar of dragonfire and the high-pitched whine of overloaded circuits. The battlefield was a swirling vortex of chaos, a testament to the raw power unleashed by both sides. Every inch of land was scarred by the conflict, a stark reminder of the brutal reality of war. Leading the dragon charge was Ignis, a colossal beast whose scales shimmered like molten gold. His wingspan dwarfed even the largest robots, and his roar could shake the heavens. Fire erupted from his nostrils with each thunderous breath, incinerating anything unfortunate enough to be caught in its path. Ignis was a force of nature, his every move imbued with ancient power and fury. He soared through the air with unmatched grace and ferocity, his eyes blazing with primal instinct. His presence alone was enough to inspire terror in the hearts of his enemies. Behind him, a legion of dragons followed, each one a formidable opponent in its own right. They were a symphony of scales and fire, their roars echoing across the battlefield like a chorus of impending doom. Countering the dragon's aerial assault was Prime, a colossal robot of imposing stature and unmatched processing power. His metallic frame was a testament to advanced engineering, his every movement fluid and precise. From his eyes, beams of concentrated energy lanced out, vaporizing anything in their path. Prime was the culmination of centuries of technological advancement, a cold and calculating machine driven by logic and a single-minded purpose. He surveyed the battlefield with detached efficiency, analyzing every movement, every attack, and every defense. Following Prime was an army of robots, each one a marvel of engineering and design. They moved with mechanical precision, their movements synchronized, their attacks coordinated. They were a force to be reckoned with, their cold metallic exteriors hiding a deadly arsenal of advanced weaponry. Caught in the crossfire of this epic clash were elite warriors, masters of mixed martial arts. These fighters were not just ordinary combatants, they were the epitome of human potential, trained to the peak of physical and mental prowess. Each warrior had a unique style, a signature move that set them apart, making them invaluable in the chaotic battlefield. They were humanity's champions, their skills honed to perfection through years of rigorous training. In the gym, they pushed their bodies to the limit, practicing advanced techniques and perfecting their form. Every punch, every kick, every movement was a testament to their dedication and discipline. Armed with agility, strategy, and unyielding determination, they fought for survival in a war that was not their own. Their minds were as sharp as their reflexes, constantly analyzing and adapting to the ever-changing battlefield. They strategized in the heat of combat, their determined expressions never wavering even in the face of overwhelming odds. These warriors, though dwarfed by the sheer size and power of their adversaries, were not to be underestimated. Their small stature was deceptive. It allowed them to move swiftly and strike with precision. They faced colossal adversaries with a courage that belied their size, turning their perceived weaknesses into strengths. They moved with lightning speed, their attacks a blur of motion, exploiting every opening, every weakness. Their rapid strikes were a symphony of destruction, each movement calculated to inflict maximum damage. In the chaos of battle, their speed and agility were their greatest assets, allowing them to outmaneuver and outfight their enemies. They were a testament to human resilience, a beacon of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. Even amidst the ruins and destruction, they stood strong, their defiant poses a symbol of unyielding spirit. They represented the indomitable will of humanity, refusing to bow down to the seemingly insurmountable challenges before them. Their role was not to defeat the dragons or the robots, a task beyond even their considerable skills. Instead, they were the vanguard, the first line of defense, buying precious time for humanity to regroup and strategize. They prepared for battles that seemed impossible, knowing that their efforts were crucial for the survival of their species. Their mission was to survive, to act as a disruptive force, to tip the balance of power just enough to give humanity a fighting chance. Through their tactical maneuvers, they created chaos among the enemy ranks, disrupting formations and exploiting weaknesses. Their presence on the battlefield was a game changer, a glimmer of hope in humanity's darkest hour. The battle raged, a tempest of claws, fire, and steel. The air was thick with the roar of dragons and the whir of robotic machinery. It was a scene of utter chaos where the line between friend and foe blurred in the heat of combat. Dragons soared through the sky, their fiery breath scorching the earth below. Their scales glinted in the sunlight, each one a fortress of impenetrable armor. They moved with a grace that belied their massive size, weaving through the air like living flames. Robots returned fire with laser beams, cutting through the air with deadly precision. Their movements were calculated, each step a testament to their mechanical efficiency. They were relentless, their red eyes glowing with a cold, unfeeling determination. And caught in the middle, the warriors fought with the ferocity of cornered prey. They were agile, dodging and weaving through the chaos, their weapons flashing in the dim light. Each warrior was a master of their craft, their skills honed by countless battles. Ignis and Prime, the leaders of their respective factions, clashed in a spectacular display of raw power. Ignis, the Dragon Lord, with his scales shimmering like molten lava, and Prime, the robotic titan, with his metallic frame gleaming under the harsh light of battle. Their confrontation was a sight to behold, a clash of titans that shook the very ground beneath them. Fire met laser in a blinding explosion that shook the very foundations of the world. The shockwave rippled through the battlefield, sending warriors, dragons, and robots alike sprawling. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated power, a testament to the destructive potential of their conflict. Each blow landed with the force of a thunderbolt, the very air crackling with energy. The sound of metal clashing against scales, the roar of dragons, and the hum of lasers filled the air, creating a symphony of destruction. The battlefield was a whirlwind of motion. Everywhere one looked, there was movement, a constant dance of life and death. The ground was littered with the remnants of fallen warriors, dragons, and robots, each one a silent testament to the ferocity of the battle. Dragons and robots grappled in the air, their bodies locked in a deadly embrace. They twisted and turned, each trying to gain the upper hand. The sky was a canvas of fire and metal, a testament to their unyielding resolve. Warriors darted between the titans, their movements a blur as they sought to exploit any weakness, any opening. They were the unsung heroes of the battle, their bravery and skill a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. Every second was a fight for survival, a desperate struggle against overwhelming odds. The warriors, dragons, and robots fought with every ounce of strength they had, knowing that their very existence hung in the balance. It was a battle for the ages, a tempest of claws, fire, and steel. As the battle reached its zenith, the sky itself seemed to split open. A blinding flash of light illuminated the battlefield, followed by a deafening roar that echoed across the land. The shockwave rippled outwards, tossing robots and dragons alike through the air like leaves in a hurricane. When the dust settled, the battlefield was shrouded in an eerie silence. Smoke and embers swirled lazily in the air, obscuring the carnage below. The air was thick with the stench of burnt flesh and molten metal, a grim testament to the ferocity of the battle. The silence was broken only by the soft moan of the wind and the crackle of dying flames. The battlefield, once a cacophony of sound and fury, was now an eerie, desolate wasteland. As the smoke began to clear, the true cost of the battle became horrifyingly apparent. The battlefield was littered with the wreckage of fallen titans. Dragons lay lifeless on the ground, their once majestic forms now twisted and broken. Robots stood frozen in their final death throes, their circuits overloaded, their metallic bodies scarred and battered. And amidst the carnage, the warriors, those who had survived the onslaught, slowly rose to their feet. Their bodies were battered, their spirits weary, but they had endured. They had fought against impossible odds and emerged victorious, though at a terrible cost. The victory, if it could be called that, was a Pyrrhic one. The battlefield was in ruins, a testament to the destructive power of both sides. The land was scarred, the sky choked with smoke, the air heavy with the stench of death. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the ravaged landscape, an uneasy truce settled over the battlefield. The once deafening sounds of clashing swords, roaring dragons, and whirring machinery had faded into an eerie silence. The air, thick with the scent of smoke and the metallic tang of blood, now carried a somber stillness. The dragons, those that remained, had retreated to the skies, their fiery breath extinguished, their roars silenced. They soared high above, disappearing into the clouds, their majestic forms now mere silhouettes against the twilight. These mighty creatures, once the harbingers of destruction, now sought refuge in the heavens, their fate as uncertain as the warriors below. The robots, their ranks depleted, stood dormant, their sensors dark, their weapons powered down. These mechanical soldiers, designed for relentless combat, now stood as lifeless monuments to the day's carnage. Their once gleaming exteriors were now marred with battle scars, a testament to the ferocity of the conflict. The warriors, their faces etched with exhaustion and sorrow, surveyed the scene with a mixture of relief and apprehension. Each one bore the marks of battle, their armor dented, and their spirits weary. They had fought valiantly, but the cost of survival weighed heavily on their hearts. They had survived this battle, but the war was far from over. The scars they carried were not just physical but emotional, reminders of comrades lost and the relentless struggle that lay ahead. Each warrior knew that this fleeting moment of peace was just that, fleeting. The uneasy truce was just a temporary reprieve, a brief respite before the next inevitable clash. The battlefield, now quiet, would soon echo with the sounds of war once more. The soldiers took this time to rest, to gather their strength, knowing that the dawn would bring new challenges. For in the aftermath of the battle, one truth remained abundantly clear. The conflict between dragons, robots, and the humans caught in the crossfire was far from resolved. The ruins of the battlefield told a story of a war that had no end in sight, a struggle for dominance that would continue to rage on. The question was not if, but when, the next battle would begin. Each side was already preparing, strategizing, and readying themselves for the inevitable. The warriors knew that they had to be vigilant, for the enemy could strike at any moment, and when that day came, they would be ready. They would face the oncoming storm with the same courage and determination that had seen them through this day. Their resolve was unshakable, their spirits unbroken. They would stand their ground, fight for their survival, and face their destiny with the same courage and determination they had shown this day. Each warrior, each soldier, was a beacon of resilience, ready to defend their land and their people. Until then, they would lick their wounds, mourn their dead, and brace themselves for the dawn of a new, uncertain future. The night would be long, filled with memories of the fallen and the hope for a better tomorrow. But as the first light of dawn broke, they would rise once more, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.